So we have a problem here. This is a backflow preventer that is very obviously leaking. A backflow preventer's job is to keep water from getting contaminants and then going back into the city supply. Underneath the letters, you'll see a slight crack. This one's a bit more visible. This is where this backflow preventer had actually ruptured, and this is what that failure looks like when the insulation is off. So obviously that's no good. We need to go ahead and replace it. This is the destruction from another angle. So what we'll do, this is called the number 1 test cock. We put in a call for the city to turn off water at this address. So I thought I would just be briefly relieving the pressure.
One eternity later.
But it turns out they never shut it off. So we'll go ahead and turn it off ourselves at the curb. Slowly we turn it off to prevent water hammer. Now that it's off, we can open up this test cock. Since no water is coming out, we know we're good. Water would come up this pipe from the city and would come out of this test cock before it reached the ball valve. Since there's no water coming out, we're good to go. Using a PVC cutter, we're just gonna go right below the fitting and snip this end off. I actually made several mistakes during my first attempt at this project, and you'll see them documented. This was my first one attempting to salvage the left-hand side of the backflow preventer fittings. Here's a closer look at that rupture. You can see it very well. And over here as well. The metal itself just ripped right open. Some new Teflon tape. Try and screw the new one on. And what will be very evident to you from this angle is that this is cattywampus from the start. Somewhere along the line I cross-threaded one of these sections. Here I'm doing some dry fitting to see if that looks good. After gluing everything and letting it dry, we turn the water back on. Right here where I'm grasping is actually a leak, so that's no good. I did something wrong there, not enough Teflon tape. Here where I'm pointing to, you can see it doesn't line up straight. And then I don't know how much longer this spigot over here will last, so we're just going to go ahead and turn the water back off and redo this. Opening test cock number 1 after the water's been turned off to relieve pressure. And taking a PVC cutter now to both sides. One of the other reasons I decided to just redo the whole thing is that the PVC that I used first, this PVC you see me cutting right here, you can see how thin it is and how the PVC cutter is just kind of bending it. That's no good. What that leads to is snapping and rough cuts like that. Compare that to some nice thick PVC and you can see the blade just sinks right into it. So at the time all I had was the thin wall PVC, but afterwards I didn't feel like that was a very good thing to do, so I replaced it with thicker PVC. The second change I made was fastening both ends of the screw-on fittings while the backflow preventer was on the ground. Once those were on tight with 3 or 4 wraps of Teflon tape instead of just the 1 or 2 wraps that I had done before, all that was left was to dry fit all my new fittings and glue them together. And here you see me doing that in very fast motion. If it only took this long, that would be great. And let me just be clear too, this is definitely not a how-to, this is just a how I did it. After letting that glue dry, we go ahead and turn the water on one more time to test everything, and it holds great, no leaks, no issues. So then all that's left to do is rewrap it with some new insulation and tape. Here you can see the process of putting new insulation on is really just kind of like building with Legos. You just have to find the right size piece for what you want next. You can cut off scraps of insulation to help plug any gaps, and then once you've got all the pipe insulation you want on, you can just go ahead and wrap it with some tape. Ideally you would have tape designed to be outdoors. Unfortunately the local store didn't have any, they were out, so all I had was some outdoor rated duct tape from Gorilla. So hopefully that will hold up. If not, I'll go ahead and replace it when it starts to crack. So here are some pictures. Here you see the very beginning. My inferior repair job replaced by my superior repair job. And then once that was all wrapped up, this is what it looked like here. So that's it. Thanks so much for watching. If you've got any questions, please let me know.